Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am here to give you my WWE Raw review for February 2nd, 2015. So, I want to thank you guys for all of these, for this patience. Um, because I haven't been giving you videos on time lately, and this is the first video in a while I've given you on time, so let's get right into it. Alright, this is Raw. Okay, I'm just gonna go. Alright, yeah. Okay, so I was just reading my text. Alright, so we get JBL, Michael Cole, and Booker T on commentary. Um, man. So the Authority comes out, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, and they talk about the Super Bowl, and everyone booed when the Pats won because they were in Denver, so I guess they don't like the Pats. So I don't even know. It might not even be that either because it seems like anytime the Authority says something, they boo, unless Triple H is in his hometown. And they said they're gonna fix the Royal Rumble controversy because of what happened when The Rock interfered. And Roman Reigns comes out and says you're not gonna. Well, they also say too that they can't take away Roman Reigns' chance to main event WrestleMania, and that he's still the Royal Rumble winner regardless. So Roman Reigns comes out and he says you're not gonna take away my main event WrestleMania. I earned that. And Stephanie McMahon says, we're not going to take that away from you. We know you wanted to prove something to your family heritage. We know about your family heritage. And they say that's why we don't think you should be winning the Rumble because they helped, one of your family members helped you win the Royal Rumble match. And Daniel Bryan comes out and says that, hey, I never I never got my title in the first place because you stripped me of it. I was injured, and Triple H says, while you got hurt. Well, he doesn't say, he says he got a rematch. He's like, well, you got injured, so we had to strip you of the title because you couldn't fulfill your obligations as champion. So then, Seth Rollins comes out, his mic isn't working, and Stephanie McMahon says that he's like, your mic's not working, we can't hear you. So then they go to commercial, which I thought was odd. And then when it comes back, Seth Rollins like, live show, huh? Triple H is like, yeah. So then Seth Rollins says that Daniel Bryan, you were injured, you failed at your opportunity to be a top guy, and he says that Roman Reigns shouldn't be in the main event because he injured Brock Lesnar's ribs, and you know I should be the one to face Brock Lesnar because if Daniel Bryan faced him, he'd get destroyed. So then Triple H says, you know what, we're gonna go with a new announcement. Tonight it's gonna be Seth Rollins versus Daniel Bryan. Winner faces Roman Reigns, and whoever beats at Fastlane, and whoever wins that match will go on to main event WrestleMania. And Roman Reigns is like, huh? And they try to, and Roman Reigns has to okay it, I guess. And Stephanie McMahon tries to manipulate him by saying, you can prove all the naysayers wrong, all the fans, and go with this match and prove that you actually deserve to be in the main event of WrestleMania. So he's just like, screw it, I'll do it. And that was about it. And then Roman Reigns has a match with Big Show, Seth Rollins, and J&J Security being Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury come out. Actually, I want to talk about this. Are they really going through with this? They don't. Is it just because it feels like the fans really made this match? Because people have won the Royal Rumble controversy before. Look at Ric Flair. He beat the only reason he won the Royal Rumble in 1992. I think that no. Well, the only reason that he won the Royal Rumble, I think it was 1992, was because Hulk Hogan pulled Psycho Sid's hand out. What else do we have controversial going on? Batista winning the Royal Rumble match in 2005 when John Cena. Because technically, if you look at it, John Cena really won because John Cena's feet one on the floor. Batista's hit first. You know, you can look at it that way. Who else has won controversially? Yeah, I can't really think of anyone else because I haven't seen all the Royal Rumble matches. But that's just nitpicking. Well, actually, it really isn't. You know, it just kind of, you know, Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble match fair and square because Big Show and Kane were already eliminated. The Rock saved them, and Roman Reigns fairly eliminated Rusev. What's there controversial about that? He won. So you can technically say that what else can you say? You can technically say that trying to think John Cena should have that Alberto Del Rio's Royal Rumble wins controversial because if you look at it, John Cena was in the match and The Miz, who wasn't in the match, eliminated him. I don't know. It's just I could just go on and on and on. But we get Roman Reigns versus Big Show. There's constant interference by Rollins and the security, so eventually, I think Jamie Noble distracts the ref. Rollins hits him with Reigns in the back with a briefcase. Big Show chokeslams him for the win. This was stupid. I hated it. This whole, like, I don't know if I was that was just dumb. I think, and then the authorities backstage. It was all pretty much a plan. They played into the fans' hands because they knew once Daniel Bryan would come out there, they'd all be in on him. And they just pretty much, it's all a scam. And they talk about how he's going to, how Triple H is going to take it to Stone Cold Steve Austin later tonight. He's going to answer all the hard questions in the podcast and manipulate him. Yeah. I thought that was fine, actually. So then Curtis Axel comes out, cuts a promo, talks about how that he was never eliminated for the Royal Rumble match. He got sucker punched before he came in, and he said that he should be the one main event in WrestleMania. I actually kind of laughed at this, and he says he was never eliminated, he was never thrown over the top rope. So then Dean Ambrose, and even the thing I hated about it was JBL kept saying on commentary, "I changed the channel," because he teases people not to change the channel. Kind of buried Curtis Axel in a way. But Dean Ambrose comes out, throws Axel over the ropes, and says, "You are eliminated." And he says, "Since everyone's spreading demands, there's something I want." He says that when he walked to the headquarters last week, he saw former world champions and former Intercontinental champions. And he said 2 weeks ago he beat Bad News Barrett, and to get a future Intercontinental Championship match. So he wants a match for the Intercontinental title. And then Curtis Axel tries to attacks Ambrose. Ambrose fights back, hits a clothesline and dirty deeds on him. Personally, I didn't really like this segment because it looks like Dean Ambrose is going to the mid-card, which I think sucks because I think he could be a great main eventer, but I guess maybe Dean Ambrose could at least do something with the IC title. I don't know, because he had the US title and he didn't do anything with it. So, I don't know. I thought this was dumb. Then they show an Ernie Ladd video package to celebrate Black History Month. I think they showed this same video package last year. I'm not lying to you. So then we get Connor and Victor of the Ascension versus Gold and Stardust. This actually was not bad stuff. Victor hits a STO on Stardust, and Goldust tags himself in and pretty much wrestles the whole match, tries to fight the Ascension off the best he can, but then eventually he gets hit with a Fallen Man for the win. And Stardust is like, "What are you doing, man?" And he's like, you took the credit, you hogged the spotlight, we're supposed to work as a team. So he walks off. So then backstage, Stardust is just talking to himself, and Goldust apologizes for taking the credit. He's trying to get his attention, though he can't get it. So then he's like, Stardust. And then he says Cody, and Stardust grabs him and is like, "Don't ever call me that again." That was funny. But it looks like they're still setting up the match between Cody Rhodes and Goldust at WrestleMania. Hopefully. And like I said, I still don't know whether or not Cody Rhodes is going to work the match as himself or Stardust, but we'll see as maybe time goes along. And then John Cena welcomes back Dolph Ziggler, Eric Rowan, and Ryback to Raw. I think this segment was supposed to happen last week, but since Raw was canceled, they just pushed it to this week because it feels like it definitely should have. So then Cena talked crap about Triple H, says that Triple H doesn't want him. That says that Triple H doesn't want. Says that Triple H's WWE is without John Cena. He talked about how Triple H is going to dance around the questions that Stone Cold Steve Austin asked him in the podcast, which was exactly what Vince McMahon did when he was on the podcast. And then he says that he always wanted to take out John Cena. He's assembling a roster down on NXT to do that, and it's gonna fail. So I guess that and then he said that he always tried to take out John Cena by putting him through obstacles, but he always came back because he never gave up. And then he brings out Ryback, Eric Rowan, and Dolph Ziggler. They come out using Ryback's music, and John Cena talked about how much of a dominant guy Rusev is. He even talked about too. John Cena had like a messed up eye, so he even said that, saying he doesn't care. So then Stephanie McMahon comes on the screen and Dolph Ziggler says, "Aren't you getting tired of putting us through obstacles all the time?" And Stephanie McMahon says, "No, other people have been going through your obstacles for you, like John Cena." So he says tonight you guys are gonna go through obstacles. Um, Starting with, and he says Dolph Ziggler, and she makes matches. She makes Dolph Ziggler versus Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan versus Rusev, and Ryback versus Luke Harper. And we get Ryback versus Luke Harper first. They made a Walking Dead reference talking about, because Ryback was doing the Feed Me More chant, and he says, "Well, here comes the creature from the Walking Dead who doesn't seem to be hungry." Something around that effect. I thought that was awesome. But they kept doing it because the match was good though. Luke Harper hit a drop kick on Ryback. They exchanged suplexes and no sold him. I thought that was cool. And then Luke Harper knees Ryback off the apron, and then he does like he goes over the top rope and does like a senton, and he calls it a zombie Eddie Guerrero move. I thought that JBL says that. So then Ryback makes a comeback. He goes for the Miho clothesline. Eric Rowan counters into a super kick. No, Luke Harper counters into a super kick. Ryback kicks out. And then Ryback hits a shell shocked for the win. And I thought that was pretty good stuff. Ryback and Eric Rowan, pretty good match. So then we get Jimmy Uso with Jey Uso and Naomi versus Cesaro with Tyson Kidd and Natalya. Apparently Natalya wants to have like a double tweet between herself and Tyson Kidd and Jimmy Uso and Naomi. I don't know if they're going to end that on TV or not. And what else happened? This match is just a joke because Cesaro is being used like a joke that I just don't care. This is pretty much the same exact spot that Cesaro was a year ago. Actually, a year ago he was in the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and now he's nothing. So I don't even care enough to really review the match. Cesaro wins with the uppercut. And then Tyson Kidd drop kicks Jey Uso. Who cares? I liked the Tyson Kidd one, but Cesaro, I mean, he could have been a main eventer this year if they had booked him properly, but he's just being used like a joke, you know? I mean, he's slightly being used better, like he's not losing anymore, but he's in a tag team. He was in a tag team last year. I don't know. I just wish Cesaro could have turned out better. And then
Threat has been detected.
Why is this on? Alright, I don't know why that was on. Alright, so then we get so then Damian Mizdow backstage, and he's getting like food for Miz, and someone comes up and he says, "I want your, hey, can I have your autograph? I'm a huge fan." And Miz is like, "Yeah, sure." And then he's like, "No, I was talking about Damian Mizdow." And he's like, "Yep, sure." So then he signs it, and then Miz rips it up, and he tells him that he's like an awful stunt double, that you're just a stunt double. You would be nothing without me. I made you. And he tells him to stop mimicking him and listening to him. And then he says that before I made you my stunt double, you were just dressing up in costumes and losing matches. And now I made you something. And I appreciate of it. You're pretty much letting the fame go to your head. So he fires him as his stunt double, but he rehires him as his assistant. Um, and he says that if you don't like that, then you can just go back to doing what you were doing before. So he does that, and so he's not a stunt double anymore, so he can't mimic him. I'm actually kind of disappointed about it, but this is good because it gets the crowd behind Mizdow, because I think very soon Mizdow is going to turn on Miz or fight and beat the crap out of him. So then John Cena's backstage, and Eric Rowan comes up, and he says no one's ever stood up for him before. Um, and John Cena says, well, it wasn't fair, you lost your jobs, and also says that when he was fired, it made him a new man because he always walked on. And he says that he's going to take out Rusev for him. And John Cena says, don't underestimate him, Rusev's a tough guy. So then I thought this was okay. So then we get Dolph Ziggler versus Bray Wyatt, and this was a great match. Good stuff. Bray Wyatt takes a cheap shot at Dolph Ziggler and pretty much dominates him throughout much of the match. Hits the uppercuts on him. One point, Bray Wyatt high up Ziggler on the ropes, and then he hits a suplex from the apron onto the floor. That was awesome. And then Ziggler starts to make a little bit of a comeback. Bray Wyatt cuts him off with a wicked clothesline. It goes for that stand-up walk bottom he likes to do, but Ziggler counters into a jump and hits the jumping DDT, but Bray Wyatt kicks out of it. And then they start exchanging blows, and Bray Wyatt goes for the and Bray Wyatt hits the flying forearm on Ziggler. Ziggler kicks out, and then Ziggler hits a super kick, and Wyatt kicks out of that. And then Ziggler hits the Fame Master, but then Bray Wyatt immediately, just from out of nowhere, hits the Sister Abigail for the win. So it was a great match. No complaints. It actually got a lot of time too, so I thought this was a great match. Awesome stuff. Then the Authority backstage again, and they were talking about why Daniel Bryan being in the match. At first, Seth Rollins wasn't happy about it, but Triple H says it was just all a plan. And Seth Rollins says, yeah, it was just all a plan to play into the universe. I'm gonna beat Seth Rollins, and Triple H says, you're not like Randy Orton. We always gave him pressure, but he always kept letting us down. He always complained. And Seth Rollins says, I took out Randy Orton, and curve stomped him right into the announce table. And he says that Seth Rollins wanted to be. Randy Orton isn't Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins is gonna beat Daniel Bryan tonight. I thought this was okay. I actually made me think Randy Orton was gonna return on this show, but it didn't happen. Spoiler alert. We get Paige versus Alicia Fox with the Bella Twins, Nikki and Brie on commentary. It was boring. Paige wins with a roll up, and then afterwards they spray tan her. We get the Miz with Damien Mizdow versus Sin Cara. The Miz, Mizdow's trying to mimic Miz, but Miz tells him, no, you're assistant now, you're not the stunt double, so he pretty much just has to stand there. And Miz tries to go off the top, and Mizdow goes to mimic it, but Miz says, no, just stand there. Miz pretty much dominates Sin Cara the rest of the match, and then Mizdow gets on the apron and takes the sunglasses off that he usually does after Miz does it, and Miz tells him no, put them back on. Sin Cara rolls him up for the win, and Miz is all pissed about it. This is good for a build up because I think they're building up the Mizdow segment with will break up, so I can't wait to see it. Then Bray Wyatt's backstage. He cuts a weird promo. I actually forget what he said. Oh my gosh. And then Rusev with Lana versus Eric Rowan. Match never happens. Rusev takes out Rowan, puts him in the accolade. And then Lana says that John Cena's facing a man. And then they play this film when Rusev just is dominating everyone. Roman Reigns is backstage. But Daniel Bryan comes up and says sorry what happened with Seth Rollins, and he says Roman Reigns says he's gonna don't worry, he doesn't get mad, he gets even, and Daniel Bryan says, well, I hope you're not planning on doing it at Fastlane because you're facing me at Fastlane, and Roman Reigns says, is that a threat? And he's like, maybe, and Roman Reigns tells Daniel Bryan to get out of the locker room. Daniel Bryan does it. So we get Seth Rollins with J&J Security versus Daniel Bryan. and the winner faces Roman Reigns at Fastlane. I thought this was a great match. Daniel Bryan in the beginning starts to work over the arm of Rollins, and he gets him in the and he hits like a suplex and then hits an arm bar on him. That was cool. And then Rollins throws Bryan outside the ring. Um, and behind the referee's back, J&J Security getting Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury. I don't know if I've said it was in it yet. Get involved and um, throw Bryan into the barricade. And then Rollins dives on him, and then Rollins during the break, Big Show came out, and then Rollins starts dominating Bryan. Hits the face foot mic check into the turnbuckle. Hits the little clothesline move he does in the corner. Um, Pretty much dominates him. And then Daniel Bryan starts to make a comeback. He hits the drop kicks in the corner, and then he hits the Hurricane off the turnbuckle, but Rollins like rolls him up, and Bryan kicks out. That was awesome. Then Bryan drop kicks J&J Security off the apron, sends Rollins outside the ring, dives, takes up, and does a suicide dive to take out Rollins and the security, and then Bryan hits a back suplex off the turnbuckle on Rollins. Rollins kicks out, and then Bryan goes for the the running knee, flying knee, whatever you want to call it. Rollins counters into a turnbuckle powerbomb, goes for the cover. Bryan kicks out, and then Bryan gets Rollins in the yes lock. Rollins gets to the ropes, and Big Show tells the referee that Bryan's on the ropes. So Bryan breaks the hold. That Roman Reigns comes out, spears Big Show, spears Joey Mercury, and then behind the referee's back, Jamie Noble's distracting him with the case. Roman Reigns hits a Superman punch on Rollins. Bryan hits the running knee for the win. So he's facing Reigns at Fastlane, and Renee Young tries to interview him and asks Triple H what his thoughts were, and Triple H says, "You'll find out what I think about it on Stone Cold's podcast." And then Bryan says that he is going to main event WrestleMania and beat Roman Reigns, and that was it. That was Raw. Like, the show had some good matches on it. Ryback versus Luke Harper was good. Bray Wyatt versus Dolph Ziggler was good. And the main event was good. But then you had the whole reason the main event in this whole situation at Fastlane was happening is because the fans are being babies. Just because Daniel Bryan didn't win the Royal Rumble, they're making this match, and I hope that, I mean, I like Daniel Bryan and all, that Daniel Bryan doesn't win, because it would just prove that if you cry, you get what you want. I mean, it worked last year because they needed to have that last year, but to be honest with you, to me, the more intriguing match is Reigns versus Lesnar. I mean, Bryan versus Lesnar is an intriguing match. It's that underdog storyline. But I'm not gonna lie to you. Daniel Bryan could barely beat like, if this is supposed to be like a real sport, if you think about it this way, Daniel Bryan could barely beat a one-armed John Cena at SummerSlam in 2013, and Brock Lesnar just completely destroyed him. And at a year later at SummerSlam 2014. You know? So I just don't really like the setup. And if you think about it, the fans are already booing Roman Reigns. To be honest with you, it would have made more sense if you had Seth Rollins win this match, because if you think about it, why the fans are already booing Roman Reigns. How are the fans going to react if Roman Reigns beats Daniel Bryan, goes to the main event, and then Daniel Bryan now can't go to the main event? The fans are going to go ballistic. So, yeah. They should have had Rollins actually go over anyways. But then other stuff you had happen on the show was you had Miz versus Sin Cara. The match wasn't bad, it just lasted too long. The Divas match was kind of boring. Just a lot of, and then I didn't like the Big Show match just because there was too much interference. Dean Ambrose is going to go back to the mid card. That doesn't make me happy. Rusev Lane, Eric Rowan wasn't that bad, I guess. But I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of this week's show just because of what they're setting up. So I hope with what I think, I hope that Brian doesn't go over Roman Reigns. But I actually got a text from my cousin. I'm gonna read it to you. So what? They're gonna have Brian beat Reigns so all the kids shut up? Exactly. I just don't like what they're setting up. I'm gonna respond to his text right now. Though it's stupid. All right. Let me just text this. Fast. All right. Well, it's stupid because the fans are going to hate Reigns. I forgot to write even more. Hold on. Crap. Come on. Not there. There we go. Even. Okay. Okay, it's stupid because the fans are going to hate Reigns even more if he beats Bryan at Fastlane. And I'll see how he reacts to that. But yeah, that was Raw this week. Definitely could have been a lot better. I am now going to watch the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast with Triple H and give you my review of that. Probably tomorrow because I probably won't be done watching it until like midnight. But that's pretty much it, guys. You can click right here to subscribe to my channel to watch more videos. Other than that, that's pretty much it, guys. See you later.